Hi YouTube, how are you doing? I'm doing okay. I'm gonna take a round roast later. Oh, it's a couple pounds and cut it in half and grill it and then slice it super thin to have with like a vegetable or something later on. So yeah, that's kind of about really all I have planned for my day. Got the kitties fed and my exercises done, so yeah. But okay, so I'm still subscribed to Jordan Peterson because I want to see where he's going with the rest of his crap, and I didn't expect him to back down on his so-called religious persona. Um, but I did go over there. He has his Out of Exodus series with some other religious leaders, I guess is what we would call these people. And I wrote on there, how the hell do you preach and watch porn or, yeah, and recommend that in our marriages at the same time, you know? And so far, at least one other person agreed that, yeah, them two things do not go together, you know, no matter what anybody says. You're either of God and you know what's right and wrong, and you wouldn't put your wrongs upon another person, and trying to uh, involve other people in things in society that are clearly downfalls for people. It's reprehensible. Reprehensible, excuse me. Or, yeah, dude's just a reprobate mindset, period. That's what that is, you know. So he evidently has no scruples and no moral standing and values of the Christian mindset. I'm not out here saying I smoke cigarettes and maybe it will relax you and maybe you want to insert that into your marriages. No, I'm not giving horrible advice to people like that. And it is horrible. Like I say, if people are doing stuff in private, I don't care. But when you're telling married couples, recommending that it could be a happy and playful thing, if you destroy one marriage with your bullshit or lead one mind away from the word of God, you are so fucked. Excuse me, Jordan Peterson. Yeah. No, don't excuse me, Jordan Peterson. Excuse me, everybody else. I don't care what this clown thinks anymore. He exposed his true colors. Is there a chance for him to straighten up? Yeah, but I highly doubt he will, because he's going to be making money off of going around the world preaching and watching porn at the same time. Oh, aren't we good? Jerk. So yeah, I wondered if I was even going to talk about this today, and I thought, well, we'll see what the day brings, you know, because I usually speak what's on my mind, you know. I was watching a really interesting archaics, and Jason has a guest on there called Square Peg, and she's a really cool lady. And they were talking about how, within language, like um, the bow was like the instrument of the coward from a distance, and the sword was the sword of truth, like right up in your face type of thing. I had a friend ask me if he could borrow my sword, and I have a couple of them, so I'm like, yeah, you can. It's a double-edged one too, you know. So, but yeah, it was interesting, the language. And then she mentioned that Bo, she had read something or came across something that is also considered like a mask or a covering. So, and then Jason mentioned, I did share it in my community. It's called isometric patterning with square peg divergent. So, anyway, let's see. Oh, about the four horses of the apocalypse. It says, and then death and hell will follow after them. And Jason says, well, then there's five horses. Well, I just counted six. Death and hell? That sounds like two more entities, you know. Just looking into the language, you never know. We don't know till that day. But won't that be exciting, you know? And I believe stuff's going to start happening. I really do. Of course, we don't know. None of us know definitively. It's just like I get a kick out of these people that just swear up and down what the name of God is, and you have to say it exactly like they think his name is. And who named him? Did he name himself? Obviously. But a lot of people have a hard time using the word God because it's been so overused. And see, what I don't like when people say the gods. There's only one God, one, not gods, plural. But if people want to think that there's all kinds of gods and goddesses and whatever, I believe there's a Mr. and Mrs. God, and I believe there's a Mr. and Mrs. Satan. That's my belief from my studies, and yeah, I'm going to stick with that. So I think that's what death and hell following. I think that's who they are. I don't know, but I'm speculating. Well, actually, it's a hypothesis because it's not even an educated guess. I guess hypotheses wouldn't even be the right word. It would be it's my instincts that Satan was never just working alone or with his minions, that he actually had a consulting partner in the whole thing, you know. And I believe that the whole thing of mankind being him trying to recreate God's persona within the flesh to control that. I believe that he had raped and taken eggs from that bloodline and propagated people in that. You know, like in the Sumerian tablets where it says like Gilgamesh and Inanna were drinking beer and making humans. I believe they were drinking beer and fornicating, making humans, and because of their incestuous ways and the alcohol, they had deformities within these human beings until they finally got one that was healthy. And that's my belief because it's logical and it makes sense, and scientifically it makes more sense than somebody thinking that they just what we're in a petri dish making human beings. It says God spoke Adam, and we know an atom can be split. So God spoke Adam into existence with his voice. God's the only one that can do that, and they're making it sound like another entity can do that. And if they were gods, they wouldn't be making deformed people. That's because human beings were created perfect until Satan got his dirty seeds in the mix. So, and yeah, I know a few of them now. Met some of them out here, haven't we? Yeah. So anyway, I'll just sit and kind of be with you for a while here. I'll try and think of things to say to keep you company and whatnot. But you know what's on my mind? I'm sure you do. We all do agree the children are what's important, the youngsters on this planet. And any bad advice from I don't care how professional they think they are with other human beings' lives, I'll draw the line right there. And I will stand up and do whatever it takes to make sure that this type of bullshit is squelched. And then the only people that will be listening to that poor advice will be the entirely stupid anyway. So right now, I could probably sit down and make a list of at least 50 playful things you could do within your marriage, within your relationship that would get your adrenaline going with your own imaginations. And I'm sure you could do that too because you're not stupid. If you're stupid enough to take advice from uh, Jekyll and Hyde Professor Wacko over there, you know, that's so disgusting. Just entirely disturbing, you know. Once again, I shared some martial artist Monday um, kicks in different forms you can do with self defense over on my Facebook. There's one that's a backwards kick in judo. It's called the donkey kick, and you can put over 400 pounds of pressure into that thing if you know how to apply it. And it's a little tricky to learn, but once you learn it, it's like one of, and there's another one, it's like either in Kung Fu, it's called a aerial sweep. In Taekwondo, in Judo, it's called a roundhouse. And in Taekwondo, it's a sweep, extended sweep, I believe is what they call it. But that one is extremely dangerous. And well, the two I just mentioned have caused my opponents to almost cry. So yeah, they're very equable, equitable. So okay, try that after a stroke. You know, if some of you don't know, I had gas fitting or water fittings put on my gas lines coming into my house and under my house. And before it could get up to the gas detector, my rabbit almost died. I had a indoor bunny, and I got really sick. My hair fell out. I started having sinus problems and allergy problems, and then I had a stroke. So, and it was pretty severe. I couldn't walk or talk, and it took me about a good month to be able to really spit out a sentence after that and to walk without any assistance or anything. So it was rough for a while. It wasn't the first time I had been through something like that because I had pulled my spinal cord at 17 and wasn't ever supposed to walk again. I wasn't supposed to have children. I wasn't supposed to be able to. I mean, like lots of what I consider God's graceful help in my struggles. And that brings me back to people that have been entirely sick. Call upon the Lord for help to help you overcome your sicknesses, and then you just defecate on the whole world with your trash. Jordan Peterson. Yeah. At least I'm not cussing out Lionel Nation this month, huh? Hey, Lionel. Yeah, whatever. There's some things I need to hear people change. And when I do hear that, I will give a little softer recognition to that person. So I'm hearing a little more out of Lionel by way of speaking what's right and what's just for the people on this planet. And if I hear people actually trying harder than they ever have before, well, stop trying, just do the whole thing. You did a pretty good partial there, but you know what I'm talking about. He's our never she's. We'll finish that one when that's finished. Okay? Okay. This is not a world of pretend. This is a very serious thing that we're showing the impressionable in this world. And everything we think, say, and do is holds an impact on the whole world, whether you believe it or not. Whatever you do today, whatever you think today, is in the ether. It's called the Akashic Records. It's there to draw off of for knowledge and feelings and instincts, and we're all connected like that, and it's a real thing. So just, um, don't take it lightly. It's not a game. If everybody realized how serious each one of our actions are in the world, if you really knew that, life would become so serious for you. I mean, you'd still be able to laugh and have a playful attitude. I had to throw that one in. But yeah, it'd be a lot more serious. It really would. And it's a very serious world to me. Just a beautiful day here. It's 76 degrees right now. It's not even noon yet, so I don't think it's gonna be too hot today. Last night I was watching the Weather Channel, which I'll tell you about in a minute here if I'll remember it, I'm pretty sure. Um, and it was 41 degrees, and I think they said Bismarck, North Dakota, which is probably about 500 miles from me or thereabouts. So we had cooler weather last night too. It was probably about, I think, about 46 or 50, somewhere around in there. So, which is for August, extremely cool. It's not global warming, it's El Nino year. There's a El Nino and La Niños. I have two videos on that explaining how the currents in the ocean have heat that they bring up, and then the jet streams work with that. And different years, like every few years, it does this or that, and it's a pattern that I've been watching for my entire life. So yeah, and living all over the country um, gave me access to the two different sets of jet streams that go across the United States, um, to be able to feel what those patterns that always come from the west going to the east, and how those work. Well, I mean, the one from Canada can swoop down to the south coming from the north, and the same with the one that's coming from the southwest can swerve up and come into the bottom half of the United States, but a real interesting thing before I get on that weather thing, Weather Channel thing, if I can remember it, was when I lived down in Arizona, there was a place called Payson, Arizona, that's up in the mountains, and the jet stream that swerves up from the Pacific Ocean there is some of the cleanest air in the world because of the jet stream there. The same typically where I live, right here, when it swoops down from Canada, from the west and northwest. But okay, let me see oh, there it is. Okay. The Washington Bridge in New York City, or not New York City, excuse me, New York State, that goes across the Hudson River into Canada. I can't remember. I didn't hear last night how long that thing is. I've been on it, but they were talking about how when they first constructed the thing, that they would start painting it, and it took 5 years to paint the thing, and by the time they got through to the other end, they'd have to start all over painting it again because of the wear and tear on the bridge and the weather ice. Well, see, now I know for a fact if they use this thing called POR, paint over rust. We own a body shop, and so we know a lot about painting metals and that type of thing. It's very expensive, but they would only have to do it once, because what it does is once this super high tech paint comes in contact with rust or metal, it creates almost like a whole nother entity onto itself that cannot be penetrated by any weather. So our government could afford to paint that thing with POR, and they'd never have to paint it again. So this sounds like some kind of scamming thing. But they were talking about how like when Chris Christie, the mayor of uh New York City, was having some kind of episode that he closed lanes coming from, I think, Canada into New York. That if that were to be shut down, that the whole probably eastern seaboard would suffer, and so would Canada, because of the lack of the exchange of goods would be stopped. And they talked about how going across the international border there cost $11.50 per person in your vehicle. And if you have a commercial tractor trailer truck, that's like $100 to go across the international border for that. So they're making some good money to keep the upkeep on that. And they were talking about how they had like cameras. It's like a suspended bridge, and it has cables, and big cables are probably like that. But so they won't get sabotaged and it won't get blown up. And I thought to myself, though, it was a little odd because it was Fox 9 News Weather Channel, and I usually turn it on there to watch the radar to see what kind of weather is coming in on the radar live, and it's usually got like music behind it and whatever. I thought it kind of odd and made me feel like maybe they're going to do something to sabotage this bridge or something. And I thought, why do they have this on? I don't know. You might want to look into it. It's called it's Fox 9 News something episode, something with a E, but it's the Weather Channel. And it was last night about 3 o'clock in the morning, so I'm sure it'll be somewhere out here on the internet. but it was just on live TV, just, you know. But I thought that was interesting. Yeah. So yeah, just beware of disgusting professors with degrees giving marriage advice to you. That's not cool. Don't ever listen to anybody's marriage advice, not even mine. Listen to your own heart, your own instincts, and talk to God. Word of God is written on your heart. Everything you need to know is right there, you know. I mean, if you're talking to a friend or, but could you imagine going to a marriage counselor and even worse, a psychiatrist and having them recommend something that destroys people from the inside out? That's horrible. There's people that are so addicted to porn that they don't have a natural sex life with their own partners, their own husband or wife, because of that unnatural interference in their life. It destroys. If you can get out of that or get away from that, or if your partner is like that, I really don't know how to help except for to keep telling you the dangers of it, you know? But we all know that we shouldn't be looking at people that are not our spouses without their clothes on. We know that, you know. That's the best advice I can give you right there. You just know you're not supposed to. You know, if you don't know that, I just told you, you know. That's awful. I can imagine paying somebody to hear something like I would flip out. I'd flip out right in that office. Like I said, I'd be bouncing off the fucking walls. You just said what to me? I'd be like, I know I'd swear like you dumb blah 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 blah. You are whacked, you know, and I'd get up and leave, you know. Not like I'd need to go to somebody like that for any kind of advice ever, you know. But some people feel like they need to, and if they need that type of support in their life and then they get something that's horrifying. I don't care what kind of slut relationship somebody else has. Don't put that on other people. You know it's your struggle. Don't make other people struggle with that too, you know? Just don't. Keep it to yourself. In fact, Jordan Peterson, if I were you, I would get up there and say maybe it wasn't, not even maybe, it was not good advice to tell people that that could be a good and playful thing within your marriage. And what really got me, motherfucker, was when you said it's the best of both worlds. Your wife is beyond stupid sleeping with you. Period. There aren't two worlds and there aren't two ways in a marriage. No, there aren't. Not at all. Like I said, if you're not inflicting your pain on anybody else, that's between you and your maker, and I'm not judging you on that. And if this wasn't put into the public eye, instructing tens of thousands of people, if not millions, by the time it's over, in the wrong direction, I wouldn't say a word. I would not even care. If him and his stupid wife were just some dumb, well, they are, but I mean, um, not in the public eye, and even like a small YouTuber, you know, whatever. Okay, so you're stupid, so, but you're not telling thousands of people how stupid you are, you know, in the eyes of God, not in the eyes of the world. You joined them. In fact, you invited all of them into your bed, your marital chamber. Ugh, that's so gross and nasty. It's hideous. Oh, wow. You could have all the money in the world, and there's nothing that would make me sleep with your dumb ass. Nothing. The minute I heard something like that out of my spouse, I'd be like, "Where the did you come from?" You know? And I would go take a bath in bleach. Ugh, just the thought of it. Oh, that's regressed. And I do shudder to know know what's next. It's going to get worse. He didn't even specify if these were like same sex porn that he's instructing people to watch or anything. It's like, phew, yeah, okay. Now I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. The first one already did. What's the second one hold in store for the world out of this person? I can imagine. Can just imagine when him and his wife are teaching younger people now the next step to global destruction with their globalist ways. Part of the agendas, like some of you know, if you look into like Marxism, Stalinism, communism, the different steps on how to totally destroy a country, the LGBTQ movement type of stuff, it's all in there. It's all in there. What a better way to destroy people. Really? You don't think this was all implemented on purpose? Of course it was. Like I say, our government could shut this shit down in a minute, but they won't. It's the same with the dark web, you know? They could totally destroy it like right now. Oh, that reminds me, I was watching a Monograph channel. It was from 2 days ago, and he was talking about, well, a long time ago, he has a video how you can basically take like your cell phone and make it into like a walkie-talkie type of thing without any wireless capabilities. And the same with making a computer out of a boom box. He's an electrical genius. But yeah, he feels the same way I do. Like, these people are not taking squat. And you're definitely not getting in my mind with any of your low vibrational bullshit. That is not going to work. And there's a third thing to that. We want to beat your ass. And that part is absolutely real because you don't care about the young people on this planet. Therefore, you don't need to even exist. And yes, there's some of us elders that absolutely feel like that, and we're highly capable of implementing that too. It's not just what I'm saying, you know. I like Monty's got this thing where he'll just like slap his hand, and I do like my hand punch. A trick, you don't want to ever hurt your hand, cup it. Gives it more of a, you know. And that's judo. You don't want to come from way back there if you're in close combat. You want to learn how to do a death strike from an inch away with your fingertip, you know. That's a real thing, you know. It doesn't matter how people are like, oh, like haymaker, oh yeah, that's enough right there in a certain spot. I'm serious. I can go up and I can just poke. I know all your nerve endings because I worked for a physical therapist, and then, no, first I took judo, then I worked for my physical therapist, not mine, but the one I worked for, um, in Cambridge, Minnesota, at CNCC, Cambridge Nursing Healthcare. Um, that's where I took my nurse's training, and then went into physical therapy. And I was into yoga and judo and a whole bunch of stuff. So I learned a lot about um, either repairing your body or destroying it, one of the two. So, yeah, but it's real. So anyway, if you want to make it just cup your hand, and you can give it a better smack, that kind of, and it sounds better too. Okay, see if it's flat, cup it. Hear the difference? I don't know. Just thought I'd show you that. Hey, did any of you try that trick? I don't know. Watch me not be able to do it now. Just put like something. Oops. You're going to try and catch it. You pull your hand back. Oh, and then I go and drop it. Okay. You know what I'm doing. But usually you put like quarters. Put 4 to 6 quarters. Let me see. Oh, damn. I missed it again. Okay. See, I'm trying to do it too high for the camera. Usually stand up. I'm going to get you. I got it. Oh, but anyway. Um, yeah, you got to be really quick to do that trick. But that does show you how quick you are. And it is fun. Try it with your kids. You got little kids. Try it with a nickel. The heavier the coin, the quicker it's going to fall. So if you give them like a penny for their little hands or nickels, yeah. But then the more you line up, I can do four quarters. Maybe not right this second, but like if I just got into it today and I'd be doing like 4, but my hand isn't long enough to do 6 of them like somebody with a longer hand and a bigger grasp can get more, you know, in their hand. So, uh, did any of you try them balancing tricks I showed you? To be able to have balance when you're getting older is a major thing. Mark my words. Especially if you have a tendency, like last winter, I fell twice. Once I had a load of wood and I was in my arms and I was coming into the house and the porch was icy. And I did like the splits on the top of the steps. And this arm, which I had fell backwards before that and kind of jammed it when I fell. But I was able to use some of my judo skills as I was falling and save a lot of the pain, but this time, the last one, the wood went flying, and I went flying into the house with my shoulder and my arm and smacked my head right into the house. As a matter of fact, I got in the house and the next day even, I couldn't remember if I had had a load of wood in my arms when that happened or not. So, but my point is being physically fit is still going to help you reduce any kind of accidents you do have, you know. So, yeah. We're going to enclose it, I think, this year. If we don't enclose it, I'm getting some of that sandy stuff to put on it. I did paint it 2 years ago, and I threw some sand on the paint, and that had worn off. And I usually put like salt or different things on it, but that didn't help that day. That was rough, and it could have been I was probably tired, and I really think that it what had been one point where I had been kept up like about 4 in the morning or whatever, and then I still had my chores to do, and I wasn't able to do things the way I should have been able to do it. So, yeah, but that hurt. Actually, the one falling backwards where I jammed my arm um, hurt worse than smacking my head or my shoulder. That hurt too, but not as bad. It's just that I re-injured what I had done about a couple weeks before that. So, yeah. But yeah, if I hadn't been fit all my life, aside from when I was too sick to even move, but even then I struggled to do different exercises, even if I couldn't walk, so. So yeah, if your legs aren't working, well, just sit in front of you and, you can do like isometrics with your muscles by holding your muscle for 10 seconds and then relaxing it for 10 seconds. That's an isometric move. 10 seconds, 10 seconds, all over your body. And you really don't even need to exercise because then within the struggle of your day, like I'm saying, if you have problems walking, even if you're in a wheelchair, if your legs aren't working and you keep the rest of you fit, when you're ready to work on your legs, it's going to incorporate a lot easier than just sitting there and being a couch potato. Or if your arms hurt and you can just sit and like do knee raises, or whatever. Any little bit you do is going to help you, to keep active. So, or dancing or walking or, that type of thing. Any activity, actually. But if you can stretch your muscles and keep limber, I'm 65 and a half, and you should be able to touch your toes. But I know people that aren't even 50 years old yet that can barely bend over and tie their shoes. I know people that are my age that have been using walker and canes and that type of stuff and scooters for 15 years. It's like, wow. And I knew you when you were a teenager, and now you can't even walk. Luckily, Doug lost weight because last year he fell out on the steps and my arm was injured, and I couldn't get him up. I could not lift him up, and I'm strong, but my arm was injured. I mean, I probably could have ganked him in by his coat or something, but if that happened again, I told him I'm gonna have to call the ambulance. I can't get you up. You're too big, you know? I mean, I'm not fighting him. I would knock him down and then harm him. That's the only way I'd be able to really fight bigger people like that, is to make them smaller than me and then either try to run or attack, whatever the situation calls for. That unfortunately I've been in them type of situations. I don't put myself in these situations. It's like just Satan's like, I got another big piece of shit that wants to kill you. Try this one. Be like, no, Satan, God shows me the openings every time. You try this one. Oh, yeah. And I used to not even. I started taking self-defense because I was so sick of being pulverized by big things and not being able to do anything about it, you know. And you can only get hurt so much and cry so much on this planet where you will fight back, I'll guarantee you. If you don't, you're going to die. Like I say, I would recommend self-defense for anybody, but especially women and children. I really would, you know. Unless you have a psychotic child, it's probably not a good idea. Then I would just stick to like exercising, like balance balls and resistant bands and let's see what else. Stretching and, you know, maybe some sports, but yeah. But yeah, if you got somebody that's a little wiry and not all there, probably martial arts is they're not gonna have the honor system in there like we don't fight, but we'll take care of business type of attitude, you know. So, and did you know that if you pick a fight with a martial artist and you know that they are one before you go into that fight, anything they do to you is absolutely legal? Just thought I'd tell you that. It's a fact. I loved this meme yesterday. I put it for people that would recommend porn in marriages. It said, relax, buddy. I'll fold your clothes with you in 'em, buddy. That's how I feel about that. And I know you're a man and you're thinking, oh, you couldn't do that. There's no way. And you think you got something. Yeah, okay, whatever. I got something you don't. That's God in my heart. And that wrath, if you were to confront that, that trumps it. Believe me, it does. Believe what you will. And I'll tell you, people, and I'm not just bragging, but I will either be the very best, most loyal, honest friend you have ever had, or I really, you would be my foe. One of the two. So either want me by your side or you're going to have problems with me. And that isn't too hard for me to prove. Just with my mouth is bad enough, but all the rest of me is bad for you in that respect. No offense to my loved ones and friends on here. No, I'm not being confrontational to you at all. I'm your protector. It's a fact. For your heart, your mind, your body, any part of you. So last night I fast every day, so I had something to eat about, I think it was about 10:30, 11, somewhere in there. I got up and I told Doug, I said, I'm just going to have a bowl of cereal. I didn't want anything else. Well, I had some sunflower seeds and then a bowl of cereal with a banana on it. But he had been talking to a new friend that he had made from Africa named Caleb, that both his parents had died and he's raising his siblings, and he is a computer engineer or something to do with computers. And he asked Doug if he could call him father. And well, see, too, I know a lot of my African friends. Like, I didn't know this at first, and it was several years back. This friend of mine had said, Happy birthday, mother. And I thought, that's just sweet. And then I found out in some of their tribes and cultures that they honor the elders in their society by mother and father. So I thought, wow, that is just beautiful. How sweet is that? You know, talk about respect for elders, which can be a very dangerous thing, by the way, to teach young people to just respect anybody that's older than you. You know, in general, it sounds like a beautiful theory, but most harm that comes to your children comes through either family members or people that you let into your life. And those are the ones that are going to be hurting your children, the ones that are getting closer to them. So teaching them just to respect somebody because of their age is not probably a really good thing. Like I say, it's a beautiful concept, you know. Yeah, I love it. You know, I worked in retirement homes and I used to go and volunteer in them and read to them and play bingo with them or sing to them, you know, that type of thing. Um, Me and some other people, and then sometimes just by myself. I'd be walking home from church and I'd pop into this nursing home called Queens Nursing Home and just spend some time with the elderly there, you know, because I had respect for them. But then I had some horrible things happen to me by old people, and that kind of waned for a while. It was like, I had a kind of a deep-seated hatred for the older generation that was teaching the younger people some really horrible things, you know, like sex, drugs, and rock and roll. And then all of a sudden they straighten up their act after they had once again defecated on the younger generation and acted like they were all lily white while their kids were suffering with the ramifications of what they did and what their parents did, you know. I'm not saying keep blaming the next generation, but stop it with you know, so it doesn't keep going down the line, you know. Oh, so anyway, so I came out and told Doug I was just going to have some cereal, and he said he had just got through telling his new friend that he was going to have a bowl of cereal and then get some sleep because his friend in Africa was just getting up. He said, okay, I will see you, which will be tomorrow for us, and his nighttime. He was just starting his day and we were ending ours, so that's nice. And I told Doug, I said, "You will make friends out there if you want to from all over the world." He didn't think the internet would be a cool thing, but he's finding out that he's actually getting attached to some of these people that he's talking to. And that's a good thing. We all can use good friends in this world. I think I have some corn on the cob. I think I'm going to put them out on the grill too. I know you can put them in the microwave, but I don't want to microwave corn. Like I go through all the work to make some grilled beef. I'm not going to nuke some corn to go along with it. It's like, I don't know, that just doesn't sound very healthy. It might be okay, but I know if you buy them packs of popcorn that they turn into like plastic, the kernels itself in the microwave, it's the equivalent of eating plastic. So it's not really good for you at all. I mean, the fiber, who cares if you're destroying your body? And yeah, I detox every day and I keep active. That's why I can still run and jump around and I'm strong. And I do a lot of um, heavy lifting. I always have. I've always been extremely strong like that. Extremely. Not your average. I could appreciate Dr. Sean Baker as that carnivore doctor. And about a month ago, I had said he weighed like 300. I forgot he had dropped some weight. I think he's 270. He's 6'5". So he's lean, he's muscular. He's not a wimp by no means, but he used to be fat. But he's like 50 now, and he's pretty darn strong. So, I mean, that just attests to the fact that if you do keep active in your life, and what he calls fat probably wasn't like obese, like there's no muscle tone there. I'm just saying, you know, if you have like an injury or something and it puts you out for a while. I thought it was funny he was taking jujitsu and he was getting his ass kicked by these 20-year-olds and told him you need to use the length of your limbs to combat these little creatures. Like he could just hold them by their head as they sit there and do their little things. Go ahead, kick, because your foot's like about that far from where I'm gonna be, you know. But actually, that wouldn't work on me anyway. No, it wouldn't. But for most people, it would. And I've done it. The best thing is a keto. Just wait till they're coming at you. If they're coming at you with like even a flying drop kick, you wait till they're there and use the momentum of their body against them. And I've done it many times. I'll just take somebody's leg. They got their leg in the air coming at me. I'll just use it like a jack and I'll flip them on their ass and there they are. Or they're coming at me with their weight and I step aside and just guide them along their way and they go sailing, stuff like that. And they don't see it coming, but I am quicker. Ooh, talk about quick the other day. I didn't know what I was going to do. We have this big raccoon that's coming up and all the kitties were scared and I looked out And I thought, 'cause I feed feral cats, if you don't know, and built them a kitty house with heated water in the winter and all kinds of little houses in there for them, beds and so anyway, um, this raccoon was out there, and it's a big one. I have never seen a longer or taller raccoon in my life. It's a good almost 3 foot long raccoon. So it was over by the kitty house and it was coming up by the house. And I told it not to come around here anymore when it was by the kitties one other time because it will eat a baby. There's no doubt. And we got all kinds of little babies out there right now. But I put my shoes on and I thought about grabbing my bat or something, but I didn't have time, so I put my gloves on and I had my shoes on. And I thought I'm just going to have to do some martial arts on this little thing, if I have to. If it's rabid because it was coming out in the daytime. So I ran out of the house and I did scare it. In fact, I ran after it and it went under the motorhome and I was yelling at it not to come back. I haven't seen it for a couple days, but I was concerned because I had a couple baby raccoons and um, if you don't get them before their eyes are open, it's like almost anything. I've had a lot of wild animals that I cared for. Um, if you don't have them before their eyes are open, they will have their natural instincts more intact, but they really never entirely go away, you know. And I've learnt my lesson on that. But I had people giving me um, what would be considered like exotic pets if they couldn't take care of them. Or one like my baby deer, her ears got cut off in the combine. People that are vegetarians or vegans, whatever, they think that no animals die for their piece of bread, but oh yeah, lots of them do. The mother wouldn't come back and get this little baby, so I raised it. I went and bought milk and sheep pellets and all kinds of things to raise this baby, you know, and taught her how to kind of be in the wild, tried to. Oh yeah, and I could tell you more horror stories of the so-called grain industries and crops that people that don't eat meat will try and say all kinds of stuff, but they don't know the hundreds of animals that are destroyed just for them to have a piece of bread, you know. So, but because they haven't worked out there like I did, they just evidently don't know, you know. Yeah. So tell me true. How would you feel if you went to somebody that you paid money for, or even if you had insurance through the state or whatever country you live in, and that professional, say if you're a man and you take your wife in to get counsel for somebody within your marriage because perhaps you were struggling with your sexualities within your marriage or whatever the case may be, that this person would recommend pornography for you, what would you do at that moment? That, say if it was a man and he said that in front of your wife, or if it was a woman and she said that in front of your husband, that's beyond uncomfortable. That's so unnatural. It's entirely gross. I mean, I could see like, hey, you just went to a bar and you're a couple of whores, and then y'all go somewhere together and watch some pornography. I had to let go of a really good friend. I knew his father was a preacher. If you know who Jim Baker is, and went to let's see, not mercenary school, another with there was a few people named Jim, but Jim and Tammy Baker were real popular. Well, anyway, this Jim I knew had gone to school with him, and he was a preacher, and I found out he was watching porn with his kids. Well, this same kid I'm talking about, we had stopped to visit at one point and wanted to pull out some porn and start watching that in front of Doug and I, and we're like, we're out of here. We never even saw him again after that. It's like, talk about a disappointment. So the kid did definitely learn from his father, but it was gross and disappointing. I have one more cigarette with you and then cut it short. Or not short. But yeah. Yeah, this same dude, he's a preacher. Tried to put his hands on me one time in a loving way. I just went like this. Shoved him into his garage and I said, "Don't you ever flip and touch me again, or next time it'll be worse." You know? And he didn't. So, pretty big guy. I never pick on little people, and I didn't touch him first. But you can't go around on this planet thinking you can just touch anybody just because you want to, or even look at them just because you want to. Something might happen to you, and it should. It surely isn't a joke. If you knew how uncomfortable I've been made to feel by men, and even women, but, you know, in the sexuality department because they can't control their desires, yeah, I'll help you control that shit. Yes, I will. I'll help you one way or another. I hope you can appreciate my strong sense of morality in the whole thing for God and the rest of people on the planet, regardless of who does what or who says what. I'm in the world, but not of it, obviously. I'm a weirdo. What the hell am I doing here? I don't belong here. You know that song? Creep. I love that song. Or The Doors. People are strange when you're a stranger. That's one of the meanings of Barbara, is stranger. My name, Barbara Susan, is Strange Lily. That wasn't my first name, though. I was Kathleen Marie, then Baby Girl, and then Barbara Susan, and then a couple other names and several other names that people call me. I have lots of names. Got a few names for them too. Vile, disgusting, repulsive, ignorant, greedy, stupid. That's probably good. That's enough without using any foul language. Again, some more. I was happy to see. And that video from Jordan Peterson with his Exodus series had only been up about 5 minutes, and somebody liked my comment about not preaching and teaching porn at the same time. It just doesn't go together. No, it doesn't. No, it does not. We all know that. I'm out to put an end to the bullshit like that. You want to be scum, but don't pretend you're not. Like I said, in private, if you're single and you're not, whatever. I know somebody even separated, do what you will, you're not doing it to other people, and you're not teaching people what to do with their ding-a-ling, you know? That's not a problem. And God doesn't have a problem with you either, I'm positive. But if you're up there teaching people that it could be a happy and playful thing and the best of both worlds within your marriage, ooh. Yeah. I think you know how I feel now. And what is right. Instead of teaching what your Exodus series is, why don't you group of men just pull the porn out and throw the Bible in the trash like you do with your words and just be who you are instead of pretending to be somebody you're not, because you are now exposed for who you are. And it's only going to get worse from here. I'll make my voice heard. I know it's not getting shared, but I'll get it out there one way or another. And you will see a decline in your business. You deserve to be living in a tent like some unfortunate soul out there that hasn't had any um, bloodline assurance from the dark cabal, but is actually just a normal human being in need of help. That's how you need to be. Trade places with somebody that's worthy, is what I'm saying. And no, there's nothing that this person I'm talking about has or does or looks or anything that I desire. Not one thing. The only thing I was hoping is that it was a righteous human being that I could share information that would help other human beings. And when I found out that wasn't true, because what I have in my life, to me, like land and water in my place, and you couldn't touch it. You couldn't buy it. You don't have enough money to buy my place. You don't. Nobody actually does, because I'm so set where other people won't be, and we made it that way. So no, there's nothing anybody owns or does, or no cars, no homes, no nothing that I would trade for. I'll make my own way. I always have. So is Doug. That's how we are. So no, there's absolutely, so it isn't any kind of going after somebody just because of their position. But then on the other hand, it is because of the position he's in, speaking to other people away from God. So yeah, he made an enemy out of me with his laughing, the best of both worlds. And you would do such a thing to your wife. Wow, you really love her. Bet she just loves you too. when she sees some other guy's dick and then climbs on top of you. Oh, oh, you're gross. That's disgusting. Disturbing in the worst way. Oh, gross people. Yeah. Okay, everybody. I appreciate you joining me. If you see so fit to share or give me a thumbs up, hey, I would appreciate it because I'm the strong one out here with this sword. Yeah, that's me. So could you help me? Hello? Yeah, if not, anyway, have a good night or day wherever you're at. Peace and love from Pine City, Minnesota, USA. We'll see if the pen's mightier than the sword, because I know the word is the strongest thing, and I'm going to show you how that works.